Good morning, everyone, and I want to welcome everybody to your Senate chamber. We are here this morning to vet the credentials of Miss Michelle Olapai Joab, nominated by Governor Palacios to serve as a member of the Civil Service Commission. Welcome, Michelle and your family. At this time, it is now 10:15 a.m. on this Wednesday, July 26, 2023, and we are here in the Senate chambers in Saipan. And as I mentioned, we are here to examine the credentials of a nominee from the administration. And I want to welcome everybody. For your information, we are live on local cable channel 23, Facebook, and YouTube. If for any reason we need to take a break or recess, the Facebook page will continue to live stream, just for your information. Before proceeding with the agenda for today, I'd like to take care of some administrative matters and that we ask everyone to please silence all your electronic devices. Additionally, I would like to introduce the professional staff assisting with the committee this morning. To give us sound legal advice, we have our legal counsel, Ms. Antoinette Villagomez, the legislative assistant assigned to this committee, Mr. Devin Macaronis. To keep order and decorum at all times in the chamber, we have our Sergeant at Arms, Mr. Will Uggan, and our IT assistant, Mr. Delbert Camacho. Moving along, I would like to now recognize Senator Paul Manglotnia for the proper motion to adopt today's agenda.
Madam Chair, I so move for the adoption of our agenda today as provided by copies to all the members.
Thank you, Senator Paul. A motion has been made to adopt today's agenda and it has been seconded. Are there any objections to the motion? There being no objections to the adoption of today's agenda, the motion hereby passes. At this time, moving along, we would like to now invite Mr. Oscar Babauta, the Special Assistant for Administration, and the nominee, Ms. Michelle Olapai Joab, to join us in the chamber. And Mr. Babauta's role here is to formally present the nominee to the committee and to introduce her to the committee as well. You may proceed when you're ready, Mr. Babauta.
Hi, Jesus Masi, Madam Chair, and thank you very much once again. Good morning, Hafaday and Tiro, to all of you. Chairwoman Babauta and the honorable members of your esteemed EAGI committee, Senator Paul, Senator Donald Manglone. For the record, my name is Oscar M. Babauta, the Special Assistant for the Administration under the Office of the Governor. On behalf of Governor Arno I. Palacios and Lieutenant Governor David M. Apatan, I thank you once again, Madam Chair, and the members for the opportunity to appear before you. I'm here to formally introduce the Governor and the Lieutenant Governor's nominee to be a member of our Sinamay Civil Service Commission, representing the Carolinian community for the 3rd Senatorial District. I'm more humble and honored, Madam Chair, to have known this fine woman next to my left, as a close friend of her parents, the late Tino Olapai and his wife. I'm very elated to be here with her and join the family, and thank you on behalf of the administration for accepting the selection of her to formally be part of the Civil Service Commission, representing the Commonwealth and, of course, most especially the Carolinian community in the Sinamay. By this time, Madam Chair and members, you should have in your possession Ms. Joab's resume describing her education and 20 years of profound professional experience in several notable fields. Ms. Joab graduated from the HPU, Hawaii Pacific University, with a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration in 1999 and a master's degree in Human Resources Management, to which he obtained in the year 2000. Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apatang places their full confidence in Ms. Zoap's ability to serve the Civil Service Commission and commend her once again to accepting this notable membership. I know she stands ready to answer your questions and present her plans for the future. Her history of professional experience, credentials, and commitment to serving our people in the Commonwealth in this capacity makes her a viable candidate, and we kindly ask and your members for your humble and expeditious approval towards the Senate, full Senate body. Thank you again, Madam Chair and members, Jesus Masi and Gilisto Rem, to this August body. Thank you and good morning once again, Talo.
Jesus Mossett, Mr. Babauta. And I would like to go back on the agenda because there can be no official meeting unless we call the roll, which I forgot to do early on. So I would recognize the legislative assistant, Mr. Macaronis, to call the roll of the committee.
Senator Selena R. Babauta.
Present.
Senator Karina L. Magofnia. Senator Paul A. Manglonia. Senator Donald M. Manglonia.
Present.
Madam Chair, 3 members are present, 1 member is absent.
Thank you, Mr. Macaronis. There being a quorum established, we have the legal authority to conduct this meeting. For the record, Senator Karina Magofnia is hereby excused from this hearing.
Chair,
Yes.
if I may,
Sure.
I know that this is Ms. Zoap's first of its kind in this kind of environment. She's been away from government for quite some times, and I ask if you can allow me, Madam Chair, to just kind of put her at ease and sit with her for the duration of this meeting, if that is okay with you and the members of this committee.
Do we hear any objections from the members?
Recommend that
Senator
he
Beck.
stay for the whole day. As we have a hearing all day, Madam Chair. Thank you.
There being
I have
no
no problem with that,
objections.
Madam Chair.
There being no objections from the members, I have no objections.
Thank you. Thank
may
you.
sit
Jesus
with her.
Masi.
Thank you, Mr. Babauta. Moving along. Next order of business, the floor is now open for public comments.
Good morning, Madam Chair. My name is Felix Nogis on behalf of the Carolinian community. I want to keep this brief. I've worked with Ms. Joab. I know her credentials, and I'm sure she'll be an asset to the commission itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nogues. The floor is still open.
This. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of this GGL and EAGI Standing Committee. Thank you for allowing me to testify to support the confirmation of Ms. Michelle Olopay Joab as a new member for the Civil Service Commission. My name is Joseph M. Pangilinan, and I'm the Chief for Employee Development and Staffing Section, EDS, Civil Service Commission. As the Chief for EDS, we are responsible for receiving, recording, reviewing, assessing, rating, ranking, and certifying the qualifications of job applicants. Ms. Joab is one of the many applicants that has submitted applications with us applying for job vacancies. In the many years working for OPM, I rarely encounter an applicant with a master's degree in human resource management. More importantly, she is a homegrown, local, and an active permanent resident of the CNMI. Based on employment, she has worked in private companies and government departments and autonomous agencies. Her work experience ranges from middle professional to managerial level positions, performing work in the area of administrative and human resources. These are closely related and significant work experiences that can be applied and utilized as a member of the Civil Service Commission. I am certain that her knowledge, skills, and abilities and her willingness to serve should translate well in promoting and maintaining an independent, nonpartisan civil service merit system. With her qualifications, she can contribute toward improving the personnel and accepted service rules and regulations, participate in employees' appeal cases, and ensure the effective overall function and performance of OPM. Madam Chair and members, I do not know Michelle personally. However, based on her education and work experiences, I'm confident that she will do well serving as a member of the Civil Service Commission. For that, I ask you and the members to vote and confirm her nomination. I would like to commend the governor for appointing an ideal person to serve as a commission member. Thank you.
Mr. Pangilinan. The floor is still open.
Good morning, Chairwoman and members of the EAGI committee. I'm delighted to wholeheartedly support the nomination of Michelle Joab as the Civil Service Commissioner. Having had the privilege of working under her guidance while managing the recruitment section at the Northern Marianas College, I can confidently say that Mrs. Joab is a leader who embodies the qualities required for this esteemed position. One thing that immediately struck me about Mrs. Joab was her ever-present smile, even in the face of challenging issues. Her positive demeanor and unwavering optimism not only uplifted the spirits of those around her, but also created a harmonious work environment where everyone felt valued and motivated. Under her mentorship, I've learned invaluable lessons in being more interpersonal while maintaining utmost professionalism. She demonstrated the art of communicating effectively and the power of building genuine connection with colleagues, fostering a cohesive and collaborative team spirit. Her commitment to maintaining confidentiality and handling sensitive matters with utmost discretion is commendable. Her ethical approach to leadership fostered in an environment of trust, esteem, ensuring that everyone's privacy was respected and each person felt safe expressing their concerns. Moreover, her remarkable ability to control emotions and actively listen to others showcase her exceptional emotional intelligence. By leading with empathy and understanding, she encourages an open dialogue and enable effective problem-solving skills. With her extensive background as the director of HR in the college, and her ineptness in addressing the office complaints professionally, she is undoubtedly suited for this position. Her expertise and experience will prove invaluable in serving the public interest of the civil servants and ensuring a fair and just practices. Finally, her leadership, her compassion, her professional competence makes her an outstanding candidate for this position. I'm confident in her appointment that will lead a positive and meaningful improvement in the civil service system, benefiting not only the employees, but also the public at large. With utmost admiration and support, I wholeheartedly endorse Mrs. Joab's nomination to the commission. Thank you again for this opportunity. And sorry, I did forget to state my name. My name is Teresa Borja. I'm the executive assistant for the Civil Service Commission. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Borja. The floor is still open. Come on. There being no further individuals interested in providing oral testimony, I do want to state for the record that we received a letter of support from Mr. Raymond Munya, the chairperson of the Civil Service Commission, in support of your nomination, Ms. Joab, and the committee received no letters in opposition of your nomination. For the record, Ms. Joab was nominated by Governor Palacios on May 17th, 2023 to represent the 3rd Senatorial District, the municipality of Saipan and the Northern Islands, and also to represent the Refaloas community on the Civil Service Commission. These nominations require the consent of the Senate, a procedure unique to the Senate. And that is why we're here. This is the legislature exercising its authority under the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth to vet the nominations of the administration as to their professional standing and character beyond educational qualifications. And I would now like to ask the nominee to please rise and raise your right hand as our legislative assistant will administer the oath.
Ms. Michelle Olapay Joab, you do solemnly swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Thank you. You may be seated. Welcome, Ms. Joab. How are you feeling today?
Nervous.
I'm here to let you know, don't be. Pretend you're having a conversation with us, a casual conversation. We're not here to interrogate or investigate you. But this is, but the committee and the members do have the inherent obligation and prerogative to ask probing questions. And that is why we're here today. But I'm glad you rose up to the challenge. It's refreshing to see women take leadership roles because I think diversity really offers a different perspective in our government. And I think we need more female leaders to rise up to the challenge to set the sails for our government. So welcome again. At this time, I would like to open the floor for you if you would like to make any opening statements.
Oh, good morning, everyone. I would like to first thank you for taking the time to proceed with this hearing. I'd like to thank the administration for nominating me, as well as Carolinian Affairs Office, and especially the supporters that came out today. I'm really touched and humbled by their comments. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I will open the floor to the members to begin the question and answer portion. Recognize Senator Paul Manglonia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to thank also Michelle for accepting this nomination from the governor and lieutenant governor. I continue to be impressed by the appointments made by the governor and the lieutenant governor because you're another one of those experienced and educated female nominees, and I really don't have any question this morning, Madam Chair. I'm ready to support Michelle. I'm reading over her resume, and I'm really impressed with your background. I just want to point out that uh, some of the concerns that I'm hearing at from the employees. One of the concerns that I continue to hear is about this life insurance and health insurance with employees who have been long-time government employees, and for example, they find themselves very sick now, or maybe laid off, or I mean, or maybe consider, I mean, for some reason they're not going to be, able to continue their employment. They're going to lose out on their life insurance and health insurance, and that's one of the concerns, I believe, one of the issues that was brought up to the commission's attention, and I'm reading here that they're addressing it, and I hope that you can look into that as a human resource individual. I know that that's something that every family is concerned, right? I mean, if the breadwinner all of a sudden stops working for health reason or whatever have you, they, especially if they're very sick, they wouldn't have that protection, right? So I really want to understand more of that, and I hope you get to seriously work with the other commission members, um, even with regards to the sick leave bank. Once an individual is sick, you know. Many times that individual maybe don't have a spouse, right? The person, maybe a spouse pass away, or no immediate family member, and yet the doctor requires that they be sent on medical referral with an escort, and that escort, not being an immediate family relative, cannot avail of the sick leave bank. So these are maybe, you know one might say not very serious concern, but for the family it is, right? Especially when we need to many times seek outside medical attention, right? That cannot be provided here. And I say this because even for Rota residents, and I come from Rota, right? And in Rhoda, there are many services here on Saipan that are available, but not on Rhoda. So we have to send our patient to Saipan. And sometimes they also require an escort. So I don't know, some employees of government are complaining that they are out of sick leave. I'm not saying that they be fully compensated for being absent, but at least some kind of assistance there, because they have the service on Saipan, a CACC, but they don't have it on Rhoda. So they many times there becomes an issue between the employer and their immediate supervisor and employee, because the supervisor doesn't feel for the family, and the situation. So I appreciate if that can be looked into further, and if we need to amend the law, let's amend the law. Or if, I'm not saying that they should be fully compensated, but at least some kind of consideration. And I know that you are sensitive to that, as um, you've been working under those kind of with those kind of issues confronting you. Um, I just want to also point out that the mission statement for civil service, and let me quote that: to dispense prompt, fair, and impartial resolutions of employee grievances and appeals, and to develop and promulgate regulations and processes necessary to uphold a civil service personal system free from coercion and political influence in the delivery of quality services to the people of the CNMI. I'm continuing to still hear, some cases that are still pending, and I know that when employees have grievances and they raise these issues, complaints up, I think that it benefits both parties, all the parties, to resolve this immediately, right? So I think we all have to be sensitive, and we need to adhere to this mission of dispensing prompt, fair, and impartial resolutions. So, you want to comment on that, on some of these points I made? Appreciate. Thank you.
I will take note of all what you've mentioned here, and I'll do further research and look into it more. Try and come up with some kind of compromise, whichever.
Appreciate that, and I know that your experience, your background, you are one of a few that can be sensitive and that can understand these issues. So I appreciate your commitment and your all your efforts in this regard. Thank you, Jesus Monsi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Paul. Now recognize Senator Donald Magnolia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Ms. Joab, S.A. Vivalta. I just want to kind of expound on some of the things that Senator Paul had brought up in regards to the sick leave bank. I guess just to kind of elaborate what he just mentioned is that a lot of times our people, for example, expecting mothers would have to fly to Saipan at like a month and a half ahead of their delivery date, and they use up a lot of that sick leave time just awaiting for to give birth. Whereas an expecting mother on Saipan could work up until the time they're ready to give birth, and so maybe kind of figure out some flexibility or maybe amend regulations that would allow for them to maybe transfer temporarily to a sister agency to assist or to continue working so that they don't use up all of that sick leave, so that they can also kind of save that for recovery and just in order to support these individuals. I just wanted to get some clarification as to your resume. It looks like the last listed employment you had was in April of 2023. Are you currently working right now?
I have started a new job with the Commonwealth Utilities Corporation in their HR department.
Under the HR department as well. So I do see you have several HR experiences throughout your professional career. One thing I wanted to just get your opinion on is the drug policy. What's your stance on the drug policy currently, and how do you see that moving forward in regards to now, with marijuana being legal locally? How do you think we should proceed with our current policy?
Me personally, I support the drug policy, zero tolerance, especially for safety sensitive positions. I do understand, there's some medical situations, so that's something that I recognize, and I would like to do more research before I can give an opinion on that.
Okay. Thank you. Other points I wanted to bring up, and something that you can look at if confirmed, is maybe take a look at again the pay scale. I know I mentioned this with Ms. Borja when we met with her and Chairman Munya, is just whether we can do some kind of study to see where we're at compared to other nations, other jurisdictions in regards to disparities in pay and the type of work that these individuals are doing versus how much they get for that position. I'm also trying to work on how can we restore hazardous pay to our law enforcement officials, and so that's something that we should also try to look at. Another point I wanted to bring up is I know we are waiting for the confirmation of our ROTA representative to the Civil Service Commission, but maybe also look at how we can provide assist our Rhoda OPM office in trying to be more independent. A lot of issues in regards to employment revolve around the routing of documents that sometimes gets misplaced, and employees, would have to stop work until that gets resolved. And there's so much routing going on within OPM and OMB, and so it's very difficult for our people in Rhoda, and I'm sure the same issues are going on in Tinian to understand where they're at in the hiring process when they're not on Saipan to walk into the office and find out where things are at. And so maybe provide more independence to the other senatorial districts. I also will kindly ask that you also look at professional development opportunities for employees. A lot of times, I whenever calling agencies or even just visiting agencies, I think there needs to be some kind of continuous education in trying to help and support and assist our people to grow professionally, and maybe look to see if we can offer incentives or assistance to try to encourage our employees to want to do more and do better and grow professionally. We can also utilize NMTI to allow for our employees to gain more skills and certifications on several traits that they can also assist the department and become more efficient and effective in carrying out their duties. And then overall, just go throughout the regulations, and again, like Senator Paul mentioned, like look to see there are a lot of outdated regulations that I'm sure we can amend, whether it be through the Civil Service Commission, or through legislation. But one of the bill that I recently introduced was to allow autonomy with the AG's office so that they can do their hiring and look for qualified individuals that aren't necessarily allowed to come on board through the Civil Service Commission. And so if you can also take a look at that legislation and prepare any comments you or the entire commission may have, whether it's in support or concerns for the legislation. It hasn't been assigned to a committee yet, so hopefully with your expeditious confirmation, we can you can get together with all the commissioners to kind of look through that and offer your opinion on that matter. Again, like Senator Paul has mentioned, you're just looking at your resume right in front of me. You have several. Well, I do see you've went through several agencies, both public and private, and most of these are in the role of HR or in the field of HR. And so I have full confidence in what you have to offer and bringing that experiences to the commission. And so nothing further, Madam Chair. I just feel like, with having faith in your ability to serve as a commissioner, I just wanted to bring up these points so that these are some issues that you can look at along with the other commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Mangonia. You mentioned, Ms. Joab, that you just recently started a position at the Commonwealth Utilities Corporation. What position is that?
HR generalist.
Generalist?
Generalist.
I didn't even know there was such a position, but okay. When did you start that position?
July 5th.
Oh, so recently.
Recent.
Very recently. I think, you having this new position with Commonwealth Utilities Corporation in the HR department, and now being nominated as a civil service board member, commissioner, would give you a unique advantage, a unique view into how autonomous agencies' practices, personnel practices, differ from the civil service system. So, and I hope that you can balance the two, because we know that quasi-autonomous agencies such as CUC, Northern Marianas Housing Corporation, Commonwealth Ports Authority have their own personnel rules and regulations. So I hope that you look into the disparities or inequities, if you would, between the two systems and strike a balance between those two. I'm glad you support zero tolerance for drugs in the workforce. I too support zero tolerance. Should you be confirmed by the Senate, I think your position, your education complements your membership on the Civil Service Commission, should you be confirmed. And so I want to congratulate you for accepting the nomination. But let me ask you, do you want to serve as a commissioner of the Civil Service Commission?
Yes, I do. I recognize right now all the difficulties within our islands financially. How do we retain the correct employee? That's some of the things that I think about, and that's something that I would like to bring up while I'm in the commission.
Thank you for mentioning that in terms of the qualifications of applicants, right? Can you lend us your thoughts? Do you have any ideas for incentives to retain high-performing, highly qualified employees? Because we have some issues. I don't think it's prevalent in our government, but we do have some issues with retaining highly qualified individuals.
I would say that's a very difficult subject because it's really hard to control all the elements involved. One thing that I thought of is providing training that'll help, make the individual feel that they are valued in the workplace and that we're putting some kind of a addition to their worth or and they would stay longer within the position.
Thank you. Because studies have shown that monetary incentives do not necessarily work. And I think having the education in human resources management, you're probably aware of that. And you're right, it's the value we impart to our employees that's more important than as an incentive as opposed to monetary incentives. So thank you for bringing that up. And besides, we're in severe financial dire straits, as the administration has stated, and I'm not sure if financial incentives to retain employees would be a good idea at this time. One thing I would like to ask you to take a look into is military leave and maternity leave. And I know the legislature has recently passed legislation to increase maternity leave and also extend it to the fathers, not only the mothers of newborns, but military leave. I'd like to ask you to look into the federal statutes, and I'm pretty sure the civil service rules and regulations conform to those. And it is important, I think, to look into that and see how we can further support military personnel serving our nation and our Commonwealth here in the Marianas. Because military personnel can be activated for well over a year, and that would present an issue, I think, with against our personnel service system rules and regulations. So please take a look at that. Also, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Military dependents, including spouses, have a difficult time because some of them hold professional licenses, nurses, attorneys, but they're not allowed to practice in other jurisdictions. And that would be an issue for the Professional Board of Licensing. But if possible, I think the regulations can accommodate, not necessarily transfer their license because that's out of your jurisdiction, but somehow work with the Board of Professional Licensing to accommodate in some small way even, to allow teachers who are certified, nurses, attorneys, of military dependents, to be able to teach here or practice nursing. And these are US certified, a lot of them are US certified professionals. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on how you could possibly level the playing field for military dependents.
That's, yeah. That's a very touchy subject, difficult to answer right on the spot, but I will do more research and look into it.
I
Get back.
appreciate that. And we understand your limitations in your answers, knowing that you have not attended any meetings yet. So we do appreciate your candidness and letting us know that you at least look into it. The other thing is, I've asked this of other civil service nominees, scholarship nominees. There seems to be, a lot of our scholarship recipients that don't return home. And we don't know, I'm sorry, we don't know the statistics on that. We will be looking into it to try and capture our residents after they have received CNY scholarships, SHEFA scholarships, local scholarships, to try and return home. We need them. We need their expertise, their education. It would provide added value to our government, I think. So I want to ask you, do you have any ideas as to how to capture those graduating college students, recipients of the local scholarships, and create that pipeline so that we can offer them jobs here in our government to return? Aside from the regulations of the local scholarship, which requires them to pay it back if they don't return, I know they do offer, in their regulations and their MOAs, they do offer that for every year they work in the government, there's an offset as to how much they received. Can you lend us your thoughts on what ideas we can come up with to create that pipeline back to the CNMI government so we don't lose out on those investments?
My thoughts are that we really need to work with our scholarship and SHEFA offices, especially for the highly skilled trades like engineers. I've seen in the paper we have a local student that just graduated engineering degree. That's a person that we really need to bring back home. Just getting that relationship started so we can start identifying the students in all areas, but especially the highly skilled areas.
Thank you. I do know that the Office of Personnel Management puts it on their website, the vacancies. They also, I've seen in the past, issue vacancies, and it's posted in a lot of the government offices, but I think more can be done. Also, I want to have you think about the Department of Labor and work with them how to capture graduating students, because I really feel we need educated individuals to come back to our government and help our government with their skills.
Madam Chair.
Recognize Senator Paul.
Just kind of a follow up, not directly related to commission, but I noticed one of your job experience way back under Work Enforcement Agency, Michelle. You used to recruit for the Hawaii Job Corps.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, is that program still very active
believe
today
so.
in here? Are we
heard it's still
recruiting?
I'm not sure if they're still doing recruitment, but it's still active.
Oh, but that's a very valuable program, right? I mean, before I remember we sent a couple every year, and we notice those people those students that come back, they actually find meaningful jobs, and they move on, right? And they're very successful. So I'm not sure that this still continues today, but this is sort of like NMT. It's just that you bring them to Hawaii and they really get their hands on and experience. And I'm not sure whether, are you aware?
I'm not aware, but actually I have one person that I helped recruit to Hawaii Job
Oh.
Corps. She's here today and she's back contributing to our
Yeah, because I remember, before. So something we need to look into again. Maybe start sending. And this, by the way, have financial assistance, right, to the federal government and federal financial assistance.
I believe so, yes.
Mm.
I'll take the time to look into it and see if it's still active.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
program, yeah.
I don't have any further questions. Like I said, we know the limitations of the nominees that come before the committee, having not attended any of the board meetings or commission meetings. If there are no other questions from the members or issues they want to bring up, I recognize Senator Donald Winglonia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just going back to one of the statement the chair had made in regards to employee retention, and going back to what I mentioned regarding professional development opportunities, I think we have to start looking at the possibility of maybe requiring employees to take certain professional development courses in order to achieve a certain pay rate. It works effectively with PSS. As a former teacher, the only way to reach a certain level of pay scale was to continue your education or take several hours of professional development courses in order to meet, because year after year we have the WGI is of a concern, right? The WGI, sometimes, or one fiscal year we may have the money for it, other fiscal years we don't. But if employees go out and take the initiative to grow themselves professionally, then maybe that could be the avenue to try to get the higher salary in the event WGI is not available. And so that kind of pushes our employees to grow again professionally, but also, maybe motivates them to want to try to do better to assist the agencies they serve. And so maybe that's one route that we can kind of look into, further investigate, trying to achieve a higher paying salary, and kind of maybe bypassing, and I hate to say this, but bypassing the WGI system, but also try, rather than have employees just wait for the next WGI, they can try to do something currently and trying to better themselves in the end. And so that's all I wanted to bring up, since the chair had brought it up. And so thank you again for for that. I yield at this time, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Donald. Senator Paul, do you have any questions for the second round? Okay. Thank you for coming before the committee, Ms. Joab. Certainly your education and professional experiences are compliments to serve as a member of the Civil Service Commission, and we have no issues with your professional standing or your educational standing at this point, and it would be a privilege to recommend your confirmation to the full Senate body. Thank you. You are dismissed.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on with the next item on the agenda, or no, yeah, miscellaneous. We can do it again. Nothing? There are no objections. This meeting is hereby in recess. It is now 11:05 a.m.